Alright, so on today's agenda we're going to go ahead and mount these up underneath using these button screws, which are I think actually metric, grade 10 or whatever their rating system, it's 10 something, which are basically grade 8s. And so we'll put those on. I'm going to have to cut a hole here in order to get at the nut on the back end side to get it tightened down. After they're all in, then I'm going to weld the tops so that they'll basically be the same as the rivets that were there originally. And then I picked up some thicker gauge sheet metal that matches the metal used here, and I'm going to make it so that this merges into this with welding to tie it all together. Then I'm also going to do this. It goes up underneath, basically in that position. These flanges line up with these. So I'm going to strip this and spray weld-through primer on it, and then I'll clamp it up, put pressure on it with the jack, drill through so I can have the marks over here, then drill bigger holes from the top, and then we'll plug weld. So should be enough to keep me out of trouble today. Building the flange piece that'll connect this brace with this, and I'll also seal the hole that I'm going to have to cut here in order to tighten down the bolt that's going to be holding the top in. And one of the things I did, this has a slight curve into it to match the curve of the back piece, and so I used my shrinker on this to get it so that it matches. And I find this interesting. So I need to reduce the angle on that because it's 90 degrees, because those the seat back angles back some. So the way that I do that is I put it here in the vise and then I just squeeze it down, and that gives me a consistent force all the way across the edge, so it ends up coming out easier the first time. Yeah, I got the little panels cut. The plates that are going in there are weld-through primer on them, so they're in my little paint booth drying. And then this is the back of the those two pieces that I cut out, and so that shows that the corrosion was really limited to just the floor, wherever the jute held the water up next to the sheet metal. So I think we're in good shape. Alright, I got the patch. Patch is built for both sides. That one's going to need final fitting, but that's not a big deal. I've got the cup mounted underneath with these two nuts and bolts, and I drilled these out so that they fit a little bit better without having to screw them in, and then put some weld-through primer with a Q-tip into the hole so that there's no exposed metal. Alright, so I have gotten the patch in over there. All the bolts holding the radius arm mounting cup are in. I tighten them up really tight, and then welded across the top, so they're permanent now. Put the patch in. It's all welded up, just needs to be trimmed down. Same thing over here. Getting better on my welds. So you can see where the epoxy primer burnt, but obviously I put a lot of heat in this area, and this is as far as it burnt back. So I think that's really good. So I'm gonna dress these up, make these as same height as this thing here, which isn't very much. And then tomorrow I can weld this in, and it's Buddy over there, and the piece up underneath. So hopefully we can get the whole rear end wrapped up today. Or this weekend. Alright, we are done for the day. This is all smoothed out. I put the weld through primer both sides. The panels that go in there, I clean the epoxy primer off the mating surfaces where I'll be welding, and then through my little paint booth drying. So we're ready to get those things in tomorrow.